there. We're going to talk baseball now for the rest of it, and we got a World Series coming up this week. The Dodgers and the Yankees. So this is what we wanted, right? So obviously not us because we're Oriole fans, but like you're getting Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge in the World Series finally. So this is exactly what the league wants. This is exactly what the networks want. This is exactly what a lot of fans want to see. Shohei Ohtani on the Dodgers, so many years to the Angels, has never been to the World Series. He's going to get his shot this year. And I think if the best player isn't Shohei Ohtani, it's Aaron Judge. I think Judge is probably the best. Probably Judge is probably the best player in the American League. There's a pretty big distance between best player in the league, these two, and everywhere as well. So we're going to see about this is on the first game is going to be in Dodger Stadium. So the two hallowed halls, right? We got all these stadiums, Huntington Bank Park, M&T Bank Park, all this stuff. And then what do we have here in game one? We're going to have Dodger Stadium, right? One of the oldest stadiums that are going on. So definitely check that out. Jack Flaherty, I think Jack Flaherty is starting in game one. Yeah, Jack Flaherty, I think I did get that right. Jack Flaherty and Garrett Cole are going to start in the first game. Flaherty has been outstanding for the Dodgers this year. Outside of his last start, he's been terrific for them all season long. Garrett Cole, I think had injuries this season. One of the top 5 pitchers in all of baseball. Definitely the 2 best records. Money can buy a championship. They might as well be here since they spend the most money. So absolutely, we're going to go ahead and check that out. The World Series Fall Classic begins on Friday. Couple things real quick before I go to the Orioles. I'm going to go to the Orioles here in a second. Mets, I thought, were much better than advertised this year. I thought the Mets really pulled back. I think they might be the favorites definitely next year. They're definitely going to be in bidding. I think their pitching, is got to just get a little bit stronger. We're going to beat the Dodgers as well. Guardians, I don't think they have enough offense to beat the Yankees. I think that's what it was. I think they kind of just showed up. I don't see them winning a World Series as good as their pitching is. In a way, it's sad because they're doing everything right. They just don't have the bats to go ahead. The Yankees' defense is terrible in the outfield, etc. I mean, their defense is terrible in the outfield. Every time I see the Yankees, they're running into something, misplaying a ball, etc. But they're hitting a lot of home runs, so that works. All right, free agency 2025. Oh, we're gonna go over some things here in free agents for a lot of these MLB teams. What are the Orioles possibly looking at? So we compilated a little free agent list. Not every position the Orioles are going to go after, but go over the free agents list. What targets? How does it look for free agents for 2025 for the Orioles? We're going to go ahead and take a look at that, see how that looks here. Probably not looking at a catcher. Obviously, as a starter. So the first guy, I think, I don't want to mess up his name, Kyle Shigosha for the Padres. I think he had one of the best years of his career. I think he probably stays in San Diego as well. There will be some interest in him. There aren't a lot of good catchers. They're just not. I mean, that's not breaking news. But the catching and behind the plate in the league has really struggled for a lot of teams. But definitely, it'll be interesting to see. But he's definitely the number one guy. Carson Kelly, Danny Jansen, Gary Sanchez, James McCann. Yes, that's right. James McCann. Same guy. Will the Orioles want to stay with James McCann? I think it'd be fascinating. I don't know if there's a lot of good options. I mean, again, I kind of looked at it, And man, a lot of these catchers, I mean, everybody complains about McCann's bat. His bat is actually better than a lot. I mean, there's a lot of 100 like with a lot of these guys. Gary Sanchez is actually has a reputation of being a bad catcher. I think he actually has improved. He's going to give you some offense, but he keeps being a free agent. A lot of teams don't want to commit to him because he's kind of up and down. He used to be all or nothing. So you're going to get some offense there. Same with Danny Jansen and Carson Kelly, decent offensive catchers. You're going to get something offensively. I think probably those guys land a backup role. It depends on a good team, on a bad team or something like that. If they like sign with Oakland or something, they probably would start. Or I'm sorry, Sacramento. Like they'll start. First base now, Pete Alonso, I think is a free agent. I think interesting to see the sabermetric guys won't like a Pete Alonso because his average isn't high, but he's super productive with the home runs and the RBIs and things like that. I can't imagine there wouldn't be interest in Pete Alonso. I think he resigns in New York, but I think there'll be some interest in him around the league. I think obviously there has to be only 30 years old, which is kind of young for a free agent. I think it'll be interesting to see that. Christian Walker, I think, has been excellent with more playing time. I think I thought he was the best offensive player in Arizona this year. Paul Goldschmidt, I think, decent, but I think he's more towards the end of the line. I think if you're looking, for a DH type, I think teams might be interested in him. I don't think he comes back to St. Louis. I think the Orioles, I could see it. There's a universe where I could see it. Carlos Santana, I think he kind of returns to the Twins next season, even though he was good. Offensive, like power, you're going to get some offense. You're going to get some home runs. Josh Bella, kind of same, younger version, bounced around a little bit, got some power in his bat. You're going to see him somewhere, probably on a different team, not the Marlins. Probably going to sign with a better team with a better record. Gabriel Torres. Gabriel Torres is a good offensive player. I thought he's actually been hitting the ball well all year, ahead of Judge and Soto. Like a lot of the Yankees, he concerns you on defense. He not good with the glove. I thought I will go below average. I think he still needs a lot of work. He's definitely, if you need a leadoff guy, that's the appeal with him. I don't think he needs to be in New York to hit leadoff. I think he can hit leadoff on any team. He's going to get you good average, get you some power. I think definitely he's the number one guy if you're actually looking for a second baseman. I think there will be teams looking for second baseman. I don't know also, too, if he signs with New York because they're spending a lot of money like on Soto. So he could be in play. They could say, we'll go in a different direction. It'll be interesting to see. Jorge Polanco has a club option, 29 years old with the Mariners. I think he resigned. Jorge Iglesias, I think he could go back to the Mets. I think some teams will look at it. Orioles, I think, might look at it in the second base infield. Interesting to see what they do. Can they pull the trigger on Jackson Holiday? Will they pull the trigger on Jackson Holiday starting full-time and actually committing to him to second base? Orioles really seem to be, and this is just the read I kind of get from them, kind of like adverse to commit to anything. We may get, I think there's a shot we may get a Gunner extension or a Adley extension in the offseason, but they kind of had the attitude, let's collect bodies, let's collect young players. So wouldn't shock me if they sign a second baseman. Brandon Drury and Whit Merrifield are also options for them. I think they're kind of more utility players, fringe starters as well. So those are names to look at. Third base, I think there's pretty much one name here, Alex Bregman. I think he's going to get a lot of money from somebody. I think he's easily the upgrade here at third base for somebody. I think definitely a team would want a third base production, would want Alex Bregman. Would the Orioles do it? I don't think so. I think it'll be a little expensive for them. I don't think they are out of the world idea of having a third base, but I think it's a little expensive. Bregman, I think, is going to cost money. I don't think he's going back to Houston either. I think somebody else is going to pony up, the Rangers or something like that. Suarez, I think, is a good addition for somebody. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, if he gets out of town. There is a club option. After that, good luck. JD Davis, the Yankees, last of the Yankees. I don't even think he was with the Yankees at the end of the year. Juan Makata definitely struggled with the White Sox, and Ahmed Rosario. These guys are just bench guys. Maybe you're looking for a guy. I think you could get a guy. This is something I think the Orioles would consider, something like that. There's an injury or something like that. Shortstop, definitely Orioles. I don't think are in the market for short. I would like to see him in the market because I like to see Gunnar at third, but I don't think they're going to move Gunnar. I think they're going to leave him at short. Willie Amos is the top free agent at shortstop. He's definitely going to get a lot of money, and definitely the Orioles aren't going to do that. I don't think he resigns either with the Brewers. The Brewers, I don't think are going to spend that money. Ha-Seong Kim with the Padres, they should want to resign him. I don't think you want Bogarts anymore at short. So I think you should want. I think they should want to resign him. He did get hurt. I got a sense he's not coming back. But after that, Kyle Farmer, Miguel Rojas, Paul DeLong, you kind of all put them in the utility category. You can put them in third. You can put them somewhere. Rojas, I think might start somewhere. Bad team, middle of the team, but that's about that for that position, shortstop. Now the moment we've all been waiting for, Juan Soto. Somebody called me stupid for thinking that Corbin Burns is not in the running with a contract with Soto. I don't think that's stupid. Probably Soto would get a bigger deal than Corbin Burns, mainly because he's younger. It is possible he gets a Bryce Harper like 13-year, 14 years, something like that, because he's really young for a free agent. I don't even think that age is right. I think he's like 25 or something. 25, 26. So I think it is possible that he gets a good deal. He's a train wreck in right field. But his offense doesn't, you don't really care. His offense is outstanding, of course. So he's definitely a guy that you're going to be interested in. I think he resigns with New York. If he's turned down contracts with the Nats, big contract. He turned down really one with the Padres. So I don't know who else be out there to sign him and give him more than that. The Yankees, Mets, Dodgers. That's it. I don't think there's another team to give him like this much money if he's wanting so much money. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's got to. He's already turned that because they neither one of those teams wanted to get rid of him, but he's turning down these huge contract offers. So interesting to see. He's going to get a lot of money. Toscar Hernandez, I don't think he's going to get as much as people are thinking. He was really good this year, though. I do understand that. So he was really good this year. I thought he was an outstanding addition for the Dodgers. So I'm not dissing him. I don't think he's going to get as much because I think he's a bit of a one-year guy. He's been pretty good, but man, he really stepped up like this year. So I don't think it's going to be quite as much as people think, but I definitely think he might. It might happen. I'm not convinced of that, but it definitely might happen. Will the Orioles look at it? Outfield, interesting. How do you feel about Kjerstad out there in the outfield? So these are something guys are going to be looking at. Santander, I think he's gone. I don't think he resigns with the Orioles. I think he gets more than what people think. I think I'm hearing some of these people think that he can't get $20 million. I definitely think they do. I do think whoever doesn't get Soto is going to take a long look at Hernandez and Santander. I do believe that. So it's definitely true. Tyler O'Neill's another one. So Tyler O'Neill, I think, is definitely a guy. I think this probably stays. I think they're going to prioritize him more in Boston. I think he probably stays. Interested to see what happens with Verdugo. Again, not good on defense. I think he's a good offensive player. I think he's helped them. I don't think he gets as much money as the first four. But I definitely think a team looking for a starter, believe it or not, there aren't a lot of good starting outfielders, I don't think. Not a lot. There are definitely somebody, he'd be starting on any team, and I definitely think a Verdugo would definitely has some interest for a lot of teams. Couple more here. JD Martinez, Jack Peterson, Ron O'Hearn, Justin Turner, Andrew McCutcheon. Martinez, I think, probably signs in spring. I think a lot of these guys sign in spring. O'Hearn, I think, is the most interesting. Does he resign with the Orioles? Can they still use him, considering what they bring? They may want to bring up a Kobe Mayo. I think O'Hearn's going to have a lot of interest from a lot of teams, considering what he's done the last few years. Starting pitching, a lot of names here. Corbin Burns, Max Fried, Blake Snell, Shane Bieber, Nelson Evaldi, Jack Flaherty, Shane Manaea, Michael Wacha, Yusei Kikuchi, Matt Scherzer, Tomoichi Sugato. Burns, I think, is the headliner, not going to stay with the Orioles. I think the Orioles might look at a Fried, a Snell, a Bieber, definitely an Evaldi if he's available. Jack Flaherty, I don't think, because they've had him before. Wacha, I think, is better than what anybody thinks. I like Michael Wacha a lot. I think definitely that's something they will look at. Kikuchi, not great this year, but definitely an option. I don't think Scherzer is going to be done. I think Scherzer is going to sign with somebody, and I think that's interesting. Interesting to see if he goes from Japan, if the Orioles actually pull the trigger on getting a pitcher from Japan. It'll be interesting. Lastly here, relief pitching, Tanner Scott at the top of the bill, former Oriole. He's going to be a closer somewhere. The other ones, I think, Estevez, Jensen, Kaufman, Holmes, depends on the fit where they go. I think the Orioles definitely will be interested in one of these guys. There you go. Have a good week. Enjoy all the games. Thank you for joining us on the Ravery Sports Podcast.